Hello everybody, David Shuster here. One of the U.S. government agencies that Republicans love to dump on is the United States Postal Service. The Postal Service usually has a budget deficit, but that's because federal law requires the Postal Service to deliver mail 6 days a week to every home in America. It's expensive. But instead of changing the Postal Service requirements, congressional Republicans just claim there is agency mismanagement. At a recent hearing, Postmaster General Louis DeJoy pushed back and got theatrical.
Well, you are responsible for the fall of the Postal Service and the lack of accountability.
Congress is responsible for the fall of the Postal
so
Service.
it's Congress.
I am trying to fix
on your
the Postal
watch
Service.
With all the AI.
Before my watch, the same stuff happened.
With all the AI, with all the computer systems, you're worse than if I took a horse and picked up the mail and delivered it 2 miles down the road. That's you. I hope you got that on camera. This is the response that the postmaster just gave Congress when he doesn't like what he hears. Literally covered his ears and gave himself the grade of A.
Earlier in the hearing, when Republicans asked DeJoy to grade himself, he said A. The response underscored just how stupid the Republican questioning was to begin with. Instead of having a serious, sophisticated hearing about legal mandates, Postal Service delivery requirements, and whether any of it should be changed, Republicans used the hearing to deliver a string of juvenile taunts. Republicans also showed a fundamental ignorance about what the Postal Service does, so it's understandable that the Postmaster General, after sitting through the nonsense hour after hour, would cover his ears. The reality is that the Postmaster General probably would have preferred to give some of the congressional Republicans the middle finger. The GOP lawmakers certainly deserved it. Thankfully, some congressional Democrats also participated in this House oversight hearing, and there was an intriguing moment when Texas Democrat Jasmine Crockett brought up proposals by Donald Trump's planned Department of Government Efficiency. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy had proposed cutting 75% of all federal workers. Crockett asked the Postmaster General and Postal Service Inspector General if such a cut would improve Postal Service efficiency.
There has been mention of DOGE and how that is going to come into play. And I'm curious to know, just yes or no, Inspector General Hull, quick question. Have you found that if the post office was to cut its workforce by 75%, that would somehow fix all of the problems within the post office? Yes or no?
No, we've not done any work in that area like that.
Thank you. Postmaster DeJoy, are you anticipating that a 75% cut in your workforce would solve all of the problems of the post office? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. So it's interesting because my colleagues seem to be so excited because there's a new sheriff in town, and the co-sheriffs of the DOGE committee, more specifically, Mr. Ramaswamy, has actually proposed cutting 75% of our federal workforce to try to rein in some of the spending.
Again, the spending problem at the Postal Service is due to federal delivery requirements. The problem is not because the Postal Service workers are inefficient. But that distinction is lost on many House Republicans. And it's not just the Postal Service where the problem is the federally mandated mission. If you look at Immigration and Customs or Homeland Security or Border Patrol, the spending problem is due to Congress wanting these agencies to do a wide variety of tasks. But congressional Republicans think they can just fire a bunch of federal employees and the efficiency issues will be solved. It will not work. Here is economic analyst Steve Ratner underscoring the economics and the politics of cutting the Department of Veterans Affairs.
Yeah, I just want to give these as examples of what how heavy the political lift would be to try to get this done. You're talking about 6.2 million veterans who are receiving health care from the Veterans Administration. And that number, this is a 2021 number, the most recent one we have, but that number is only going to grow. For example, they passed the PACT Act, which is to protect veterans who are hurt in burn pits and things like that. That passed by an overwhelming bipartisan consensus. So imagine the idea you go back then, a year or two later, and you say, I know you passed this thing by a bipartisan consensus, now we want to eliminate it.
In other words, the Trump administration's government spending cuts are going to run into laws and mandates passed by Congress. And instead of trying to get Congress to change those laws or narrow the responsibilities of various government agencies, the Trump administration wants to just fire a bunch of federal workers. It is nonsensical. And by the way, many of these government agencies have already improved their efficiency. The Postal Service, for example, the one we started with at the beginning of this video, has a 99% delivery accuracy according to independent auditors. And that's while pursuing a broad mission that Congress refuses to change. Also, the Postal Service Service is 4 years into a 10-year transformation plan to regain long-term financial stability. But now, all of a sudden, the incoming Trump administration and some of its Republican sycophants in Congress think that they know how to run these large agencies better and more efficiently. It's bunk. And I have a feeling that when the services these agencies provide begin to go haywire and the Postal Service cannot deliver an envelope across town because of Trump-imposed government personnel cuts, the American people are not just going to sit back and cover their ears. At a certain point, the jokes about Trump administration government efficiency plans will become serious, and we will all long for the good old days of the Trump transition when we could sit back and laugh. By the way, the president of the Teamsters Union is ratcheting up his pressure campaign on Donald Trump.
We want to make certain that what they're saying and what they do is going to be consistent. They want to work with labor. They want to work with the American people, American workers. And, we want results, not excuses. And look, the great part about this whole process is we got 4 more years. If people don't, on either side, live up to their promises and or fix their problems, we got 4 years to build a machine to get the right people in there to make the right decisions on working people.
Check out that video at the link below. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.
If you enjoyed this video, that's because of our members. They make us independent, they make us strong, and they make us honest. Become a member today by hitting the join button below.